Hello, folks. Yep, that's right. Today I'm going to do a live review of the documentary. We're going to go through it step by step. And I gotta be honest, I think I was a little too nice when I did my first impressions of the documentary. Going back and watch it again, it's really slow. It the problem is it's a one-sided story. I mean, when you do a documentary, you're supposed to do both sides of the story. And like I said before, this I still stand by. It makes George look like an innocent victim, and that somehow he should be famous by now. And oh, by the way, I want to mention this now. If you want to save this video and like upload it up other places, you are more than welcome to, and I'm going to explain why that is because I told George that I was going to do that. You can read that right there. And of course, this is how insane it is. He claims it's his. Let that sink in for a moment, folks. A documentary that he didn't make, didn't edit, didn't produce. All he did was he starred in it, which is insane. And he claims that's his. Um, yeah, so me and George go through this argument where, of course, I poke fun of him, and he comes back with his, "Oh, you live at." But by the way, folks, I haven't lived at this address in like I forget how many years. It's been more than a decade. But once again, George loves to fail. So yeah, we go through our usual retort where I call him names and he calls me names. And here's the funny part. George, let me start off by saying I was at work when this started. This started at around I think 6 p.m. my time. Remember, as I was just getting off work, had my tablet. I was on the bus on the way home. He was still bitching at me. Got home, cleaning shit. He was still yelling at me. And I ordered a pizza, and he was still going at it. Still going at it. And that's not even the hilarious part. The hilarious part is George claimed he had a woman the whole time. I know when I have a date at my house, the first thing I want to do is just ignore them and yell at my enemies on the internet and not be a good lover. But, yeah, George never tells the truth. I don't know if you're reading some of this stuff, but it's just insane. And I sent a message to Brennan and Kenny about the fact that George wants to copyright the documentary, not realizing how illegal it is for George to do that. And if they do allow him to do that, that is really sad and unprecedented. But we'll see what happens. But you get the idea. This went on forever and ever and ever. Okay, you get the idea. So, yeah, let's enlarge this and start talking about it.
I feel like I don't know. Yeah, I want to get to that next level. I want to be on that level where I'm getting accolades and I'm getting people, my peers, to respect me, and I'm being able to get paid for what I enjoy doing. It's entertainment.
Okay, George, let's be honest about that. What have you actually done that justifies you going to the next level? All you do is you pay to go on the radio a couple times a year, and you go on public access, which is paid for by the people. It's not like there's entertainment companies that's sponsoring you. And I know you like to use the excuse that, well, I've been in commercials before. I had the opportunity to be in commercials. As a matter of fact, I was in commercials for when I was a little kid for a local school that was here. Believe it or not, there was like schools that were like doing commercials back in the early 80s, which I always thought was really weird. But yeah, just because you could do a commercial is really nothing special, especially if a moron like me can do it. And of course,
Hey, what's causing all this? This is Gorgeous George. In effect, what is going down? How are we doing tonight?
I like shock entertainment. I like to kind of get in the the face of people.
You got crap in your mouth and semen and crap at the same time.
Well, you're rude and crude, and I can't believe you're on the air.
Believe it.
Here's the thing, George. Rude and crude people survive. The ones that are have talent, like that was when George Carlin was still alive. The reason like George Carlin and Howard Stern like were famous for many, many, many years is because they were clever. They didn't just say boobs and poop and shit all over, all over the place, all the time. Oh, God.
Or not. And I'm thinking about you and touching myself at the same time.
Oh, that was wildly clever there, George.
Pull the baby out of your vagina.
You want to lick? You want to suck? Right here, ladies, right here.
If anyone's insulted by anything
so
we do,
creepy.
we'd like to repeat everything we do.
That's right.
And people can sometimes.
Now, I do have to say that one of the positives, at least one of the people that I put in a positive light in this documentary was Kevin. Kevin was actually really sensible about his aspirations and his goals. George, the one thing you'll notice about George in this documentary is he blames everyone for everything. He never takes responsibility for any of his problems.
I take it the wrong way, but that's their loss. It's all in clean fun. It's all in.
Wait a minute. Whipping people, jerking off your cane is clean fun. Okay.
What we do.
Oh, this is from tudo.com. Brandon Kenny, if you were like looking for like an original copy of that, I would have sent that to you. I think the original, this is how old this like sex series is. I think the first GG sex was like 10 megabytes. I could have like emailed that to you guys.
And sometimes we get serious. We get very serious about lots of stuff.
We have a deficit. Bill.
So let me get this right. Being very serious is being butthurt about anything that's like conservative, which is funny because you hate homosexuals. I that's one of the things that I find hilarious about you. You're this staunch Democrat, but fuck those faggots, man.
Clinton.
Ronald Reagan.
What I do is very unique.
No, it isn't. You're like the very dull-witted version of Bill Maher.
It's a very unique thing is what I do.
Baby, let's look at the picture right here.
Oh, God, that shirt. Every time I see that shirt, I was thinking of that GG Sucks series where it was like... As a matter of fact, if you look back at a lot of GG's early videos, it's just like the camera zooming in and out of the shirt. He actually thought that was clever editing.
Wow!
I think I should arrive. Have a...
George, you've been doing that for 20 years. If you've been working hard like you claim, if you even had a shred of talent, somebody would have discovered you already.
Arrived. And I think that 19 years is long enough. You know, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I've said this on my website and I'll say it again. I think I'm more talented than Jimmy Kimmel would ever be.
Oh, yeah, which is why he gets paid millions of dollars a year, has millions of viewers each night that tune into the show, and you get paid nothing and probably have less than 20 viewers. Now, one of my favorite things that George talks about constantly is he claims that if the show got ratings, I mean, if the show had, what is that thing that he likes to say? Yeah, if Nielsen took notice of them, that he would get a lot of ratings. The average public access show has less than 20 viewers a show, and this is like in major markets. The only exception is like, what's that place in New York that has like the biggest public access station in the country? They get, I think, upwards of 1,000 viewers, but even then, it doesn't, like, let's give Gigi the benefit of the doubt and say he had like 1,000 viewers per show. That is nothing compared to Jimmy Kimmel or like any talk show host. Even the shitty ones get like hundreds of thousands of viewers.
I think Jimmy Kimmel can't even hold my jockstrap. I think if you put me
No, it's the other way around.
on camera, it would be great.
All right, this is Gorgeous George.
Well, it's nice to know you brought your tenant into the show.
George, baby, what is causing all this? We're over here.
I get upset because
Notice the professionalism. He doesn't even know which camera to stand at. Jesus Christ.
I feel like I could be doing and making some money out of it and taking it to the next.
And that's the whole idea why you want to be famous, George. It has nothing to do with entertaining people. It has everything to do with money.
Next level, but being where it's at, yeah, I mean, you can only go so far with it because it's public access.
Wasted.
Well, George, there's been many people who've gotten famous off of YouTube, for example. Just video game reviewers alone who make millions of dollars a year, like PewDiePie, AVGN. Can't even remember some of the other ones off the top of my head, but even Irate Gamer makes more money a year than Gorgeous George, and I dare say Ira Gamer is a hell of a lot more talented with his Midwestern cheesy jokes.
Days and wasted nights.
I mean, this show had ratings, and I've said this before on the channel, the show had ratings.
George, as I explained before, Nielsen doesn't do ratings for public access show because the viewership is so low that it wouldn't even matter. They would get slaughtered every week. There's some shows that still get like no viewers. It would be embarrassing if they took ratings. Same thing for you. You'd be lucky if you got 10 viewers a show.
Our show would pretty much be head and shoulders over anything that they have on that channel.
All right, if that's true, why weren't you discovered already?
You know what? We've got it going on. Yeah. So whether if you all people can do better than me, go right ahead. But
there's been hundreds and thousands of people who already have. It's called network television and the internet. YouTube. Can't even remember some of the other sites because I only stick with YouTube. God, just any site does better than you in terms of ratings.
I'm on here, I'm in control, and I'm doing it to it. I'm on TV, so below me.
And yeah, and that's why you're not famous. Because you know if you let public access, that would be the end of you.
Yes, baby.
Boring
Why should I
TV
call
show.
your name when you're to blame for it making me blue?
Woo! All right, let's get this thing rolling. We're going to kick it off here. I'm going to, Kevin, put that thing down. We're going to...
This is what I'm talking about. This just shows how unprofessional George is. Mostly, they never rehearse before the show, and it shows. And that's another reason why you're not famous.
All right. There's no bridges this time.
All right.
We're just
Get
coming
on
in
stage.
transition. You guys want to say this?
Yeah, all the transitions are really awkward. Check this out. It's like I don't even know where to begin with this. It's like all the camera shots and everything should have been discussed before the show, so that way any transition is as smooth as possible. This is just a train wreck. Watch this.
How are we doing? Come on in.
Yeah, I'm doing fine.
You're doing fine? Okay, I'm doing fine.
great.
too.
Let me put
All right, baby. This is the Gorgeous George Show. We are the barometer. We are what's causing all this. 19 years on pubic acids. Yes, did I say pubic?
If you hate public access so much, George, that's the other thing you get from George when you watch this, is just how much he loathes this medium, which is hilarious because he also claims that he loves it. It's like, make up your mind.
Access, I mean public access.
I am Gorgeous George.
No
George
shit.
Alexander Yared is my birth name.
By the way, couldn't you even bother shaving for the documentary? Jesus. It just makes you look lazy.
I was born in Richmond, Virginia on a hot summer day in July 1968, which makes me 45 years of age. And, considering how old I am, I look pretty damn good.
Well, pretty good for a 90-year-old.
If I got the 5 o'clock shot I got on too, but,
Well, it's because you're lazy. As
I've always liked the camera. I've always wanted to be in front of the camera. I've always wanted, when I was a little kid,
Boy, even when you talk about your background, you're not that insightful.
I wanted to be a minister.
Touch my head on the screen. Woo!
God.
It's crazy. When I was a kid, I just wanted to get on the pulpit, and I felt like I can tell everybody and just, say, talk whatever, just say whatever comes off the top of my head.
That's part of the problem, George. You don't it's like I said, I've studied improv for about a year of my life, and you always in terms of improv, there's rules, like who, what, and where, for example. Like, you never do that when you do your scenes. It just makes you just look so amateurish.
I'm a ham. I mean, I like to do improv. I think that I have,
If you didn't take classes, Gigi, you're not an improv artist.
the gift for getting up there and doing different stuff off the top of my head. I always saw movies and TV shows, and I always thought that camera work was the way to go. So I'd be on the camera.
You mean your clumsy camera work? Once again, I should put a link in the description of one of Gigi's early shows to give an example of how ridiculously poor the production values are.
Or be a focal point, be an entertainer, you know. And I
Gotta love that leisure suit, by the way. Makes you look so with it.
in the mirror a couple times, and I said, mirror, mirror on the wall. And I said, who's the first one on the wall? I said, it's you, you Italian sly fox.
I am magnificent. Oh, I am wonderful. Oh, I am the great God of them all.
And God, this just feeds into my theory again that Gigi has malignant narcissism. If I wasn't so lazy, I would put a counter in the corner just to show how many times he says I and me and myself and how much he refers to himself. It's so unhealthy, so unattractive. It explains why Gigi is still alone to this day.
And I am gorgeous.
The flight was better than the trip. The stewardess were giving up, salty nuts, and I told her to go try my nuts.
It's
Ha 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 ha. Oh God. If a 7th grader could come up with that, George, that's not funny.
me, but it's me in character.
Sir, can I...
That is not you in character. You are the same person on and off stage. There is no difference, and everybody who's watched the show has agreed. There is no difference between you on and off stage.
I am the Italian stallion. I am the Mac Daddy.
See what I mean? He said I like 3 times right there.
There's only one Gorgeous George.
Woo! I'm not gonna go woo, woo.
There's another
it was a freak, but that's part of my shtick. I'm not that arrogant.
Wait a minute. You just said I am the greatest, and now I'm not that arrogant? Do you even listen to yourself talk, George? There's the Tudo watermark again. Funny. Gigi is the baby maker, yet he has not produced one offspring.
I mean, I come off arrogant. I'm not that arrogant. I'm really a quiet.
I. Jesus Christ, George. You are hypocrite incarnate. Oh, I literally cannot think right now because I'm face palming so hard.
Person.
So would you say that you're at nature more of an introvert? Do you think?
No, I am an extrovert. I am an extrovert, but
Jesus Christ, George. Do you even... Now I'm repeating myself because it's the same critique over and over. It just makes you look like an egomaniac even though you haven't arrived yet and you're not all that... Actually, you're not really talented at all. You have to... Hold on, I need a moment. Need a soda break. Oh, God. Oh, yeah, that's much better. Let's continue.
But I'm not that, to say what you're saying, I'm not that character 24/7.
Yeah, you are, George. In that screen cap I just showed, where you talk about, having a date that night. Once again, you talk about you and you only. That's the only person you care about. Talent here, folks.
But that is kind of me because I like to cut up and all that. And I like to
cut up my doing spastic dances all over the stage.
I like shock, a little drama, but to a certain extent.
Hold, George. I thought you were good, clean fun. I mean, you can't be shock and good, clean fun at the same time. That makes no sense.
Okay.
Well, on the day that I was born, it was a hot summer day, and when I came out...
Boy, this was bad editing here on Brandon or Kenny's part. George just said this. Why do I need to hear this again?
My mom's womb, I slapped the doctor across his face. Mom said, "That's my boy." And I said, "You son of a gun, you're witnessing greatness."
Mother had left when I was about 4 years old. There was my father and mom broke up. Mom hadn't seen her for a long time. My dad was a chemist for the United States Tobacco Company. My dad was a genius. He was very rough in exterior. Dad never called me by my name George. He said, "Hey, boy!" And we had this little thing going on, and I used to say, "Hey, buzzard!" And we used to go back and forth. He said, "Hey, boy, get out of the refrigerator!" And I said, "Listen, buzzard, I got you a stack of Playboys. Now, you treat me good, I'll let you touch and sniff and feel them."
God, even though Gigi ended that with the most dumbest joke ever. This was the most insightful part of the documentary. See, Gigi, people would actually like you more if you were this subtle. But you can't, because you think everything is about you. But we learned a lot about Gigi in that just short minute. George had no mom growing up. And his dad basically, his profession was killing people with cigarettes, making them more deadly. And in George's opinion, that makes him a great dad. And for those of you that don't know, his dad was a bigger psychopath or sociopath. I don't know. I never met the dad or know anything about the dad, really. But he shot a dog with a BB gun for taking a crap on his lawn. The dad was not a nice guy. And it makes me curious as to why the mom left. It makes me wonder, for example, if George's dad was beating the crap out of her, because you got to think about this. This was probably the late 70s, early 80s. Actually, no, probably 70s when she left, because this was early Gigi's childhood. And that had to have a huge impact on him. And it could possibly explain why he has malignant narcissism, because he was used to getting a lot of attention from one person, which is not uncommon for people who have that condition to have.
And I love myself, and I love to tantalize myself.
Well, George, I thought you weren't the same on and off stage. This is just you projecting again.
Even tweeze my private parts.
The old man that I do is one of my famous characters that I do, where he's always on the commode.
Now, for those of you that don't know, the old man is based off of Gigi's dad. And according to Gigi in that previous clip, he needs tweezers to masturbate. What a thing to say about your dad.
Or he's having a bowel movement or something to that effect, kind of like, very vile, and he wants to talk about the young ladies and that character.
Actually, old man, I forget his name, but it really is the equivalent of Sonny Chu. When you really think about it, it's just Gigi's excuse to project and talk about what he really wants, without him having to say it out loud and thinking that people would find him awkward.
Comes from my father a little bit, because my father was a clown. He was a prankster at one time too, and he would joke. And a lot of his character is Henry.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he'd make a wonderful father.
Now, this is another interesting fact. 90% of the women who have appeared on George's show have been prostitutes, and this, for what I heard, is a very famous Richmond prostitute. I don't know if she's still there or not, but I've heard she's had quite an arrest record.
Can't make a baby sound.
Okay, how about this?
No.
But once again, it's completely dishonest for Brandon and Kenny to not go over any of this stuff. They completely just ignore that. It's like I said, that just bothers me. It's actually very dishonest of a documentary director to do something like that.
Oh. Good girl.
Yeah, baby
That's
girl.
why I said it was artificially inseminated.
Okay.
Freeze your sperm.
Okay. One more time for good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's
Have you ever been married?
No, I haven't. No. I've come close, but I actually haven't been married. I just, no. It just seems to be when I'm in a relationship with a woman, it just gets, it's for some reason, for whatever, it gets.
Okay, I gotta give credit to Brandon and Kenny this time. This was a good way to insult George when asking that question. I don't even have to say anything more after that.
Old, it gets tired. I don't like to be put in a box. How can I say this? I don't like to be, you got to do this and you got to do that. I want to be loved.
Of course, because you want to be the one in control. Once again, it's another common trait for people who have malignant narcissism.
Have the feel of a woman's warmth, but I just didn't want to be put in a box. And it was kind of, just the way it is. And I guess maybe being misunderstood in some way, or being put in a...
No, Gigi, it's not you wanting to compromise. That's what it is. You see, this is why you've never been in a relationship, George. Relationships are about compromise. It's not about what you want. That is a very one-sided relationship. Once again, it's not really a surprise.
Position where, misunderstood by someone. I mean, I don't know. It's just me. Everybody beats to a different drum.
New clip.
Is this getting boring?
No, you're fine. This is great.
Okay.
This is fine. Keep going.
Okay.
Clever, aren't they? Well, by they, I mean George public asses. Or pubic asses. Which, that's even worse. Especially since pubics are on the front side of the body, not the back.
The Gorgeous George show is what we can do that night, predicated to whether we can get guests or don't have guests. We don't have guests, then we do skits. So it's a smorgasbord. It's kind of like comical, and then it's just like a bridge.
In other words, it's a clusterfuck of a mess because you don't know what to do before the show because you don't rehearse, you don't actually write. Actually, I take that back. It's all bad improv. This is, once again, I'm not even trying to beat you up, George. As a matter of fact, most of the people will probably be noticing that in this video. If I was trolling you, I'd even be saying more horrific things. But people take classes. They learn how to do this stuff and better themselves as quote-unquote comedians. They take improv classes. They go to workshops. They take acting classes. They don't just go on stage and do whatever the fuck they want. No comedian has ever been successful doing anything like that.
So it's a kind of like a live talk show with a mixed variety of stuff.
What else is going on? Stay tuned. You're watching The Gorgeous George Show.
And it is the Gorgeous George show. So it's him. That's going to rise and fall on him.
Kevin is...
Boy, that was so poignant of Kevin to say. I gotta say, I got some more respect for Kevin after watching this. He actually seems sensible. Especially with what he says about... what he says later in regards to his aspirations for the entertainment field. He's actually, I can't think of any other word. Yeah, he's very honest about it, very earnest.
Without Kevin, Kevin keeps the level going. Kevin is very gifted, very talented.
That good point, George, because unlike George, Kevin has been in plays, he's been in commercials, he's been what was it, the head marshal at some sort of parade, I think it was, or was it a fair? I don't remember, but unlike George, Kevin actually has some real life entertainment experience that does not include public access.
I was in the show last week. I was in Les Mis.
Dude, I love being on television. I think television is so exciting, and I'd love to be on a TV on a regular basis. George and I talk about doing it every day if we could, but we do it only a few times a year.
Kevin brings energy, and he's very gifted in what he does. He can almost do any voice in person.
I don't know if I'd call him gifted. He's certainly more experienced than you. Yeah, need I say more? I think I've said this stuff a million times.
Nation, voice impressions, and whatnot.
I would have loved being on the Gorgeous George show.
Well, Gerald Ford, 99
I like you better than George, Kevin, but don't quit your day job. Jesus.
times out of 10. I mean, he was eating a Royale with cheese and some mayo.
Has anybody guessed who these impressions are, by the way? I haven't.
He's a hoot, and he just comes out of left field. And sometimes when when he's here and I'm here, we kind of feed off each other. It's kind of the ebb and flow, and it just flows.
Just like Joe Pesci or Al Pacino.
Oh wow, God! I'm taking it back to the 5th grade again, like during recess. There wasn't even a reason to do that. How was that funny, George?
I think I hear our guest coming in.
I don't like to be looking at script. I mean, you can do script, and it's good to remember your lines and all that. But the beauty of it is, there's no script. It comes out to be a little bit more funnier.
No, it doesn't, George. As someone who's done improv, I could tell you 90% of the time the skits are usually funnier than the improvs. Improv's, once again, you know nothing about it. It is a lot harder to do than you think it is. There are so many rules. I should have brought my book about improv over here so I could tell you some of the rules. But there are so many rules to follow in there. Once again, Colin Mockery, Ryan Stiles, all those people have been in various improv schools around the country. Matter of fact, I think both of them went to Second City, if I remember correctly. Unlike you, George, you refuse to admit that you do anything wrong. You refuse to take constructive criticism, which is why you get mad over this stuff. You still refuse to this day to admit that you do anything wrong.
When it's off the cuff. It's like, remember, whose line is it anyway? Or anywhere,
Whose line is it anywhere? Oh, God. I gotta play the rest of that.
It was where Drew Carey and Wayne Brady did their thing. Very talented people did their shtick.
You don't even know what you're doing.
Oh yeah? Let's see how.
Here's some water now they're drinking out of. Let's put it on his head and see if that works.
Sometimes it's hit and miss, but when it does.
No, George, it's all miss.
It hits. And, I'm not saying I'm the...
And once again, I'm not even saying this to troll you. I'm actually being very honest here. I have seen a lot of people at improv. Bad people, good people, and mediocre people like myself. Yeah, people would be very leery with working with you because you refuse to accept criticism.
Best improv person out there, but I'm pretty close.
No, you're not. Once again, I've seen hundreds of people in improv, like the year of my life that I've worked in it. You know nothing about it. You need to start going to some workshops, taking improv classes, reading books, and start admitting the fact that you don't know everything about comedy.
I think that we do make it funny.
I know that our show is the Howard Stern audience. We appeal to 13 and 14-year-old boys.
No, here's the thing about Howard Stern. I mean, as dull as that show can be sometimes because he uses the same jokes over and over and over and over and literally over and over and over, which is probably the problem the Gorgeous George show has. It's like it's the same fart and poop jokes over and over. That's one of the reasons why Howard Stern doesn't have the large audience he used to. I mean, I remember back in the day in the 80s when Fart Man used to be interesting and fucking hilarious. And then the 90s came and he essentially just drove that bit into the ground because it was the same shtick over and over and over.
Okay, so you're going to hypnotize me to have an orgasm.
And it's going to be an orgasm like you've never had.
Oh,
so
here comes some really convincing acting here, folks.
On the part right there. Just follow it back and forth.
Isn't this so believable?
And calm.
Oh yeah, I'm totally buying what's going on here.
Is it for everybody?
She sounded like, who was that girl in Porky's? They called her Lassie. That's what that reminded me of. If that went on any longer, that would have been that shtick from Porky's.
Your show?
I don't know. Could be. Might be. Who knows? If you like comedy, you like dark humor, you like...
No, George, that's not dark humor. Dark humor is actually very sophisticated. No, yours is like the very, very low levels. I wouldn't even call it humor. It really does remind me of like stuff that happened on the playground when I was a kid. Like this. He farted, ain't that funny? And then you get to the next grade and you realize it's not so funny anymore. And then you have Gorgeous George who does it the rest of his life thinking that every time he does it, that's comedic gold.
Political satire, bathroom humor? Then yeah. If you don't, then...
Bathroom humor can be funny if you're sophisticated about it, George. All the bathroom jokes that you use, I read in every bad joke book from when I was a kid. Back in the 80s, when that was starting to get lame. And when the 90s came, it's like that stuff just became old hat.
Flip the channel. I don't mince any words about it because I say to these people, if you don't like what I do, don't bitch about it.
Well, if you don't like what I say, then don't watch my video. It's just that simple. But once again, you can't accept constructive criticism, which is why you say what you say. It's easier for you to just pretend, no, I can't hear what they're saying, as opposed to like accepting it or ignoring it. Because you can't be content that other people have a differing opinion than you. It always has to be you. Once again, if I had a counter in this video and the number of times that you said I or me or myself, it'd probably be over 100 already.
You have a remote, flip the channel.
I've told the station this, and I've told the station this. If you want to take
here we go. George blaming everybody but himself.
me off, go right ahead and take me off. If you want to take...
Okay, once again, I have to give it to Kenny and Brandon here for contrasting what George said to this.
Take me off as part of this channel, go right ahead and do so. I don't care.
George, you say that because you know all you have to do to renew your show is just sign up another year. That's why you say the stuff that you say.
I don't need this channel. I don't need...
Prove it, George. If you don't need this channel, then start a YouTube channel. See how many subscribers you get. And the last time I checked on your YouTube channel, I think you had like 75 subs. And I'd say at least 50 of them are trolls. So if you could actually start up a real YouTube channel and try to get viewers, that would actually surprise me. But because you would never do that, because once again, you being at public access, it gives you plenty of control. And being on YouTube, that is your biggest fear, because you would lose control, like I said. And a lot of people who have malignant narcissism, that's their biggest fear, is losing control.
This channel to do the Gorgeous George show. Woo!
We've had a lot of people and get into people not understanding if we said the word pussy or said the word penis. Oh my God, these are medical terms. And if
penis is a medical term. Pussy is the derogatory, well, not derogatory, but it's the lowbrow version of vagina. I really got to stop face palming here.
They're being said out of medical terms, then it's inappropriate.
Remember, folks, according to George, pussy is a medical term.
So we were censored left and right. You know, it was bogus. It was BS. I mean, we weren't hurting anybody. We were just pushing the envelope.
No, you were just being unfunny.
You're not going to see any other show like mine on this channel. You're not going to see any other comedy show like mine on this channel. So, you know what? Enjoy it, praise it, and stop bitching about it. That's it.
See, this is what I'm talking about, folks. He's not happy with the fact that you disagree with him. He wants you to shut the fuck up and watch it. God, the delusions that goes on with Gigi sometimes, it really is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's that curse word? Bitching about it. Yeah. Oh, find me. I don't care.
Oh, I just remembered that whole tirade he just did. Let me explain it, because it's actually pure genius on the troll's part. Because once again, we all knew that Matt was in the Facebook group. So what we did was... we all said, oh no, I posted a link to tell where to file an FCC claim. And of course, Matt blabbed to George about it. And that was when he went on that tirade that night. Yeah, Matt, we didn't know you were in there. See how easily we used you?
It's been many times when I wanted just to say that, you know, come to a point where all good things come to an end. And I've, for the past couple years, wanted to stop doing it because...
Oh, bullshit, George. If I had a nickel for every time you claim you wanted to stop doing the show, I'd be a multi-millionaire. I remember back in 2010 when you went on a whole tirade that was going to be your last year. And you claimed 2011 was going to be your last year. And of course, you claimed to Josh, and we all know you're full of shit, that 2015 was going to be your last show. Or not 2014 was going to be your last show. Just the BS meter, it's like way up there.
Of the direction of where the station was going. The station's been through a lot of turmoil. The station has the equipment. It's always been a problem with the equipment and whatnot.
And I hope you enjoy.
Once again, this is George just blaming other people and things for his problems.
Enjoy Gorgeous George's farewell performance. Well, no, not farewell performance tonight. This is his first farewell performance. There's going to... Next year, you'll have a second farewell.
I'm going to give you a comedy tip, Kevin. I learned this at improv. people will never laugh if you laugh at your own jokes. It's really awkward.
Performance. He may have a string of maybe 40 or 50 farewell performances, but
The show itself has become more of a hobby. And for what it is.
Oh, bullshit. Then why do you talk about that you should be famous if it's just a hobby? God.
Been doing it for now for almost 20 years. And it's to a point where, by default, that there should be, I mean, you know, we do it. We do it like we do it every single day. But the bottom line is we're not getting paid.
There you go, folks. That is George's motive. It's money. He like, seriously, if George didn't have the show and got like paid $1 million a day, he would never. Actually, that's not true. Because of his narcissism, he'd still want to do it. But he would still be contempt. It's more about money with George than it is about the fame.
Getting paid for the God-gifted talents.
God-gifted failures, you mean?
That's right. Okay. That's right. The God-gifted
That's right. I'm not disagreeing.
Okay. You ought to be the Joker.
How was that funny, George?
Going on and just looking forward.
George is ready. It's ready.
Okay. Is there another way to?
Why do you want to sing? Wasted
All right, just hold on, Kevin.
Now,
Just run that until we get this thing set up. All right, come on.
want to sing Wasted Days?
Yeah, we'll do that. All right, listen. We're using 2 cameras, right? We're using 2 cameras.
Yes.
God, not to knock the public access studio, because public access was designed for like people. It was supposed to be like a forum, like a town hall where people could go on there and discuss issues. It wasn't designed for entertainment, really. And even like cheap studios have like 3 camera setups, and this just has 2.
2 or 3 cameras.
Let me tell you, I think the cable access shows the cable access channels, I think cable TV, I think everything is kind of phasing out. We're in sort of a evolution of internet technology and getting to the point where anyone could have a show on the internet. So we don't need
the true basis of television.
See, this was Kevin being honest. He is right. I gotta be honest. I'm knowing very few people who still watch TV on a regular basis. Even myself, it's like I only watch one TV show and I just go on the internet and download it, and that's Mythbusters. Other than that, I could really just leave television. But in George's mind, no, TV is not done yet. And of course, he's going to justify why that is, because of course he is he is the oracle of all knowledge.
And entertainment is television. Television is what is still...
No, the internet is the future of entertainment, not TV.
There, I mean, that's where you get all your shows at.
No, that'd be the internet. I know very few people who watch TV on a regular basis.
TV is very powerful because, and the TV will always be powerful because it is...
What is this, 1978? where like 100% of people watch television every day? It's not like that anymore, George. This is 2015. Even like 10 years ago, you said that you would have had more of a point, but there's far more interesting entertainment options on the internet, on YouTube, on, I can't even remember the name of that website that's from France, that Dailymotion, and all those other places that have far more interesting stuff to watch than, God, I shouldn't be, that expression, I'm sorry. But yeah, people are stepping away TV every day. Even my family, my parents, they don't even watch that much for what they tell me anymore. They can like go to Roku and what's the other, Apple TV, and I know there's something new that's coming out. That's the wave of the future. Cable and TV is really the wave of the past.
Is this little box, and this person, these people are in this box, and they're speaking their mind.
Well, they're trying to. This is really public access is really threatened all over the nation.
Shot.
You know, they're shutting down left and right.
I need a rim shot.
Years.
Taking everything to the internet.
Ba-boom tish.
Basically, people are just taking ownership of the internet.
Well, I mean, no, it's a matter of the franchise agreements and, you know, the FCC and whatnot. You know, they're allowing the cable companies to get away with murder. I mean, just not paying any.
Well, there's a reason why public access is going away, and I think that's a good thing because, once again, the internet. You have YouTube where you essentially have, I mean, let's be honest, YouTube is essentially modern public access, where you go on there and there's like various channels for people to watch, and you go there and you watch it. It really is no different than public access.
Yeah, I totally.
And that's what they're threatening to do here.
And that's why it's going away.
Do.
Oh, that was great.
Just not pay any franchise fees.
Right. I mean, there are so many people that are talented, whether they be.
Look at this, folks. Holy crap. George didn't even clean his siding for this documentary. God, these windows are not clean, and that one is. It's just very. You also gotta love the stucco and brick combination. Totally not white trash at all.
Wyoming, or whether they be in Indianapolis, or wherever they be, or whatnot. There are a lot of people that are so talented.
Look at this grass right here. Holy, it's got to be at least like 1.5 feet tall. And what is this thing? Is that like an old bomb shelter? Holy crap. I know I said I wouldn't troll Gigi that much, but damn, clean your backyard, George.
And they're gifted, but then they can never get, it's all in timing. It's coming in the right place at the right time. And I believe that a lot of people out there that can get that big break is called being at the right place at the right time.
Yeah, and guess who those people are, George? Those are people who've already been successful. Once again, you don't understand this. It's the people who've like been performing at clubs for years, who've been on various TV shows. Like, God, I remember when I was a kid when who was it? Not Andrew Dice Clay. I'll remember it in a moment. Oh yeah, Robin Williams before he got his big break. He was on Happy Days. He was on Mork and Mindy. Yeah, that was his thing before he got really big. And he did a couple movies before that, but that's how you get your big break, George. You have to be like doing stuff before you move on to do bigger things.
Admit that Virginia is not the entertainment mecca of the country. That if you wanted to do your show and take it to the next level, it would have to be somewhere else. Is there any chance in the future that
maybe
that you would?
Who's to say? Who's to know? Of course, then we have the new invention called the internet, and of course the new invention.
Wait a minute, new invention. George, you realize that the internet has been around since 1990. And if you really want to be technical, it's been around since, I think, the 50s. I forget, was it ARPANET or DARPANET? I forget what it was called. When there was colleges that had the same sort of thing going on. And then, of course, before the internet, there was, like, BBSs and, like, all that kind of good stuff. You really show your lack of knowledge when you say stuff like that.
The internet is where people can do that, where they can stay in their own homes and stay in their own territory and still be famous or infamous or whatever you want to call it.
No, George, if you want to talk about getting famous on TV, which is what it seems like you want to do, you have to move to the big entertainment meccas. For you, that'd probably be like New York, but no, actually, no. For TV, it's LA. Yeah, you really show how naive you are when you say statements like that.
But
it is the key.
It could be the key, you know. But sometimes it could be. Sometimes it's not the key.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, hey, how you doing?
We're trying to do comments and questions tonight. Okay, well, you know what? That's your mama's fat. You know, she's calling you to come home for breakfast. Matter of fact, she's got a dildo waiting for you to strap on. Well, strap on.
This is where this sort of bothers me. Granted, they shouldn't say the people that did it, but yeah, something awful. Here's what bothers me. Brandon was a part of that group of people that trolled George originally. And him not saying that it was something awful, I just think is a little bit dishonest on his part. And if not, that is still wrong. I mean, this whole part here, once again, it paints George as if he was a victim. Which he sort of was, but it really was his fault why it became full-blown as it was. Literally, if George would have ignored these people, they would have been done with them probably like by 2007. If that even. They were getting tired of him already when, what was it? I forget when he did his first tirade video. I think that was in 2006, when he went on a show and started punching... Was it Dr. Quinn? I don't remember who it was. Punching like pictures of the face. George still does that to this day. Like that's actually demeaning.
Doses, crack one, and teach you a lesson. Thank you very much.
That was the other thing. On YouTube, before they got false flag, they had millions of views. And there's still people that like when you type "Gorgeous George" into YouTube, one of the options that comes up is prank calls. That's how much of an impact this had.
Line 2, you on the air. Okay, you're not checking out. Listen.
George, tell your shit in.
Okay.
So basically, you're a dumb fat.
Yeah.
Now, getting into this degree of people that
And it didn't have 190 views.
harass us on the internet, who steal intellectual property.
No, George, once again, I took copyright law for 6 months back when I was learning music and learned that, I wasn't talented enough to do that. Because unlike yourself, I can admit when I'm not good at something. But one of the things I learned from that class was a thing called fair use. You can use other people's clips to critique. I forget, there's like a whole bunch of other things. But one of the main things that is protected in fair use is critique. Which is why this video is going to be protected. Oh, by the way, before I forget, I should announce this at the beginning of the video. I'm going to be not taking down, but I'm going to be putting the other videos up privately because George claims he's going to false flag all these videos to try to get this channel deleted. So, yeah, that's going to be a temporary thing until this video is flagged and I appeal it. So, yeah, once again, if you want to download this video and re-upload it, by all means do.
Property that doesn't belong to them, then that gets to be an issue.
Yeah, which is why you lost your copyright case 4 times in a row. You lost it in, 2009, 10, 11, and 12, I forget. Something like that. It's hard to keep track of all this because there's so much GG crap that goes on. Once again, this is very misleading. I wouldn't... Once again, trolls... It's not fans. I don't know if this was Brandon that was forced to put that up, or Kenny. But yeah, if we were quote-unquote fans, that would mean we enjoy the show. Very misleading. Very dishonest. Oh, by the way, none of these pictures in the background or George, so I don't know why they have that up there. Like, if you look at the picture database in Encyclopedia Dramatica, I think there's maybe 30 pictures total. But according to Brandon and Kenny, this is the truth. What a bunch of liars. Okay, that part is true, but that doesn't really mean anything. No, once again, Gorgeous George's information was already online. As a matter of fact, it was on the white pages. You could find just about anybody's information on the white pages, although it's not always accurate. And by the way, that is not George's house. Once again, this is just so dishonest. Why are you doing this, Kenny and Brandon? I don't... Why? Do you really feel like George is innocent in all this?
He's all constipated. How about that? Yeah, buddy. Just rub it in his face like that.
I like the Japanese boys. They're special.
Yeah, you're special, all right.
Special ed. How about that one?
Yeah, one of those pictures was
let's
me,
be
by
real
the
for
way.
a second. You and I have this ongoing thing upon, brush your feet off and let it fly. Don't worry about it. I want to.
Yeah, Kevin's right. If you would have let that go, George, you would the trolls would have stopped back in 2007 or even earlier than that. If you would have had a good sense of humor and just laughed it off as you know what, you're not the most articulate person in the world, you're not the most funny person in the world, it would have stopped ages ago.
This is what I'm saying. You don't nearly get attacked as much as I get attacked. I am the main focus, and
to be honest, George, you're the one that does the attacking. Who was the one that contacted me on my Facebook page? Who was the one that called my parents, which was fucking hilarious, back in 2000? What was it, 2010? I don't remember now. And of course, my mom trolled you, which was fucking hilarious. But I'd say you instigate 60 to 75% of all the trolling that goes on online. It's not the trolls. Granted, people like me start up shit because I know it pushes your buttons, but most of the time it's you.
The person that gets attacked. You don't get attacked, not even the nth degree.
See the anger on
and if you
Gigi's face,
did,
it's
you
so
would
funny.
see things differently.
Okay. But
so let's get real about this. These people have nothing else better to do because they're...
Yeah, because you have nothing better to do than call up various people online and Bob because they don't like your show. Look at how angry he is right here. Jesus.
Self-loathing son of a bitch.
Yes, you are, George.
Self-loathing son of a bitches that stroke their little pud.
Well, according to you, your dad has a little pud, so therefore you probably have a little one too, Mr. Pussy. Yeah, and I'm referencing that conversation that me and you had. Yeah, George claimed that I had no dick, and before that, I kept saying he was a pussy, and I said my dick is bigger than your pussy, and he got all butthurt.
For other people, okay? And let's be real.
Literally, George's comebacks are the equivalent of a kindergartner. I remember one time I was walking home from the store, and it was by this elementary school, and I had some kids call me fat. Did that bother me, George? No, I went on. But you think calling me gay and the stupid insult fart jokes are insulting towards me, and I don't really care. You could call me fag until you're blue in the face. It really does nothing to me. Your threats are completely meaningless.
About this, okay? I don't care. But you see, I live my life and I do my thing.
Bullshit, you live your life. Once again, George claimed he had a girl last night before I made this video. And 6 hours, literally 6 hours of George yelling at me, claiming he had a girl over there that he was ignoring while he was talking to me. Who's the one that doesn't have a life, George?
Every single day. And they think about me every frickin'...
That's not a Gorgeous George video. I don't even know what this is. Once again, Brandon, Kenny, this comes off as completely dishonest on your part. You could have asked us to use our videos, and you decided not to.
Day. And I'm sorry. The internet needs to be policed.
And I don't think that's a Gorgeous George... In fact, I don't even know who that is. Yeah, who the hell is that?
For simple reasons as this. Well, we don't know much about it. It's new to us. Well, get your these authorities, these police officers, and the judges and all that need to learn about cyber stalking, and they need to learn.
Yeah, they do, because you're the one that's cyber stalking me, George. Claiming you know where I live and all that bullshit, which is, of course, is hilarious. Once again, George, what was it? Yeah, that White Pages video he did the other day. He it's so funny. He's against cyber stalking, yet he does stuff that is considered cyber stalking.
Learn that is an issue. The internet on an ongoing basis of constant attacks on individuals.
You mean just you, George? That's the only reason why you're yelling about this. If this didn't happen, you wouldn't even give a shit.
Constant attacks on someone who they don't even frickin' know.
Oh, we know you all too well. Encyclopedia Dramatica, I'd probably say maybe a couple things in there aren't true, but 90% of it has some sort of factual backing. Like the Master Dong incident where you got thrown through a plane glass window. You do all sorts of stuff that contradict what you're saying, George.
To say that they're a cartoon character. No, this is a real person you're fucking with. Okay? It's a real person.
I forgot, you're perfect, George. You see, unlike you, I can laugh at myself. It's one of the reasons why I don't care what you call me, because I know that I'm not perfect. Unlike yourself, Mr. Malignant Narcissist.
Person that you're messing with. I am a tax-paying person. I live a simple life. I do what I can. I am blessed in several ways.
I. God damn, you're a simple person, blah, blah. I forgot, George, you are perfect. Jesus. Guess what? I could say the same exact thing. That doesn't make you a good person.
I have this house right here that I live in.
That you stole from your mom.
That I inherited as a kid. Or inherited as...
No, you stole from your mom when she was at the nursing home.
Back 10 years ago, that I've lived in as a kid back in 1972. I've got a nice little Mercedes wagon. I have...
No, you don't, George. And even if you did, as I explained before, that is not an impressive vehicle. I think those go for... And you said you got it used, too. So I know that was like probably around maybe 10, 15,000. Not impressed.
Good things. I have good things in my possession. I am lucky, I'm fortunate in lots of ways. I get down on myself when I don't make enough money. I feel like if I don't...
You guys want to make this fun and not such a dull documentary to watch? Take a shot after every time George says I or me.
Make enough money, I get down on myself. But you see, let's face it. That is pretty much what it is. I'm happy. I'm blessed.
If you're happy, George, you wouldn't be spending all the time that you do trying to, like, quote unquote, silence me or trying to shut me up, because that's really what your goal is. You would just ignore it and let it go. If you would have, once again, I'm going to state this for the 1,000th time. If you would have let this go when you first heard about it, people would have stopped trolling you years ago. And I mean years ago. But because you keep fanning the flames like Chris Chan does, you're going to be trolled until you're gray, at least.
But I'm not fully content with everything. I believe that I could be doing a whole hell lot more.
Take a shot, folks.
Be getting paid for what I am God-gifted.
Wait a minute. I thought this was a hobby, George. If it's a hobby, then that means you shouldn't be getting paid for what you do.
Gifted talent that I have. And I do believe I could get paid for that, and should get paid for that.
If I made more money, I wouldn't be any happier, really.
Once again, I gotta say, Kenny is very down-to-earth with what he says compared to George. Once again, very realistic, which you're going to hear here.
Wouldn't be. I could probably afford more projects, maybe a bigger budget.
Let me let you know something.
And once again, Kevin, realistic. I mean, he wants to use the money for war projects, which is very sensible if you're somebody that's working in the entertainment industry. With George, it's about houses, cars, and him. I.
But that's about it.
I don't care what horseshit anybody feeds to you, working on horseshit you're feeding right now. Money is the essential root. Money is the answer. Let's say these trolls. These trolls that want to throw spitballs or throw daggers at...
Wait a minute, I thought we were cyber stalkers, George. Make up your mind. Are we trolls or are we cyber stalkers?
I mean, whatnot. If I got paid a whole bunch of money to be a cartoon and to be picked at, and they show like Jerry Maguire, you show me the money, then guess what? I'll be the cartoon.
You are full of shit, George. You did a show a couple years ago saying maybe it was last year when you said you would never become famous because of quote unquote you being a cartoon character. By the way, George, the correct term for that is lolcow, not cartoon character. If you were to get paid, matter of fact, back when the sex videos were still like having millions of views on YouTube, if you would have sold a DVD at that time, I think you could have made at least 5 figures, if not more. But because you are pig-headed, because you're a malignant narcissist, that you think you can do no wrong, you blew that opportunity. If you tried to do that today, nobody would buy it because nobody knows who you are today.
Wouldn't really like it, but give me the, money changes everything.
You're full of shit.
why haven't you seriously tried to move to California, move out of the Richmond market, and try to actually pursue some?
Once again, this is a perfectly legitimate question here, because anybody who's serious about anything in the entertainment industry, well, when it comes to TV anyway, they move to California. Listen to George's response.
Something.
You don't have to live in LA to be famous. Okay,
there's shit. I could literally only think of like a couple people. Most of them have been like in country who were like big in TV because of who they were. Or who lived like near Nashville. One of them would have been Jim Varney of Ernest P. Worrell fame, and I literally cannot think of anybody else. There have not been many people who do business outside of California in the entertainment business and been famous.
A lot of people out there a lot of people out there that do entertainment, they don't have to live in the big cities to be famous.
Bullshit.
You know, Kenny Powers, pretty much, Daniel McBride started in Fredericksburg, Virginia, doing his spiel. Actually, he
started, yes, George, started, but they move out to California. Like, I know Maryland's not that far away from you. John Waters, that was where he got his start. And guess where he moved when he started getting famous? To California. You cannot sustain a career unless you're already big by being in a ho-bunk state. By being in a ho-dunk state like Virginia.
Stole my look.
I would move in 10 minutes.
Once again,
for the right opportunity, with a woman or with a business or a entertainment opportunity. So yeah, I have no problem with that.
Yeah. So what's keeping you here?
Nothing's keeping me here. Nothing.
A completely sensible, sane response from Kevin. And unlike George, Kevin has a real experience. If I remember correctly, I think he had like a radio show, what was it, in Scotland or the UK? He's done plays. He's done other sorts of stuff. And he speaks like that. There's a way that people who've been in the entertainment industry, who understand how it works, there's a certain way they speak. And Kevin has that. Even though I don't think he's the most talented person in the world, Kevin is very sensible.
I would, like I said, I'd leave in 10 minutes.
But you want to make sure it's the right, there's a lot of scams out there. There's a lot of people when they,
George is referring to, George gets scammed literally every 10 seconds. Like, he mentioned on a show where he got scammed for buying, what was it? Yeah, tickets to, what was it, the Cowboys game? I don't remember. But let's be honest. You only get scammed if you're really stupid. I mean, there are some scams where, smart people buy, but usually it's like stupid people who get duped. And I think George is speaking from personal experience when he says all these people are scammers.
They'll do scams in LA and they'll say, oh, we want... Let me finish, please. Let me finish. There's a lot of people out there that will tell you, oh, yes, we're doing a film, and you go out there, and there's a lot of people that will go out to Los Angeles, and it's a hoax. It's not the real thing, it's not...
And guess what? You can usually see through those, George. Those are like really easy scams to see through.
Let me finish, please. It's not the real, genuine, real McCoy when they're going out there to, and of course, you have to have an agent is very beneficial, I think.
George, all agents do is get you auditions. Unless, here's the one exception, when agents are really useful when you start going up. It's not when you're at the bottom. When you're at the bottom, all you're doing is auditions. They rarely get you roles directly unless they have an inside track, in which case you are paying a hell of a lot of money for them. Once again, you have no idea what you're talking about.
You can be your own agent as well, but as long as you can read between the lines and be able to see what's there, and be able to know what's real and what's not, because there's a lot of hoaxes out there.
You go where the opportunities are, and I have no problem. I make friends everywhere I go. I have fun everywhere I go.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay, let's make sure.
In fact, this is actually not really my kind of town, though.
Well, that's where you're from. I mean, you're from Hopewell. You're from Hopewell.
I gotta love this. I mean, Kevin, really doesn't have any, like he says, he doesn't have any reason to live there. And here comes George trying to wrestle him back in.
Oh, Virginia. Come on now, be real, man. Hopewell, Virginia.
I'm from there, yes.
That's right.
So what?
So there.
Yeah, but
Who's famous from there, George?
But be true to your roots. Now, come
are
on.
you okay, Mr.
Yes,
George?
yes.
Are you just like everyone in Richmond?
No, I'm not
You're
like
different
everyone,
from
but
everyone
I
in
am
Richmond.
true to my
so
roots.
Why are no?
I'm true to my roots. When they ask me where you're from, I am from Richmond, Virginia, and I'm proud of it.
Good.
Proud of it. Richmond, Virginia,
And that's why you're going to stay forever in Virginia, George, because you never accept when you're wrong.
And I prefer to do what I have to do and continue what I do until we can't ride the horse anymore. Like I said, it's there for us. How we started the show is through public access, and until we get into that late nights, kind of thing, basically, that we're gonna be there on public access until we get that big break,
or until Richmond gets rid of public access.
I've been waiting 20 years for my big break.
Okay, well that's you.
I've been waiting 20 years for it to be an overnight sensation.
Yeah. See, the glass is half full, not half empty. You need to practice the positive PMA.
God, it's almost done. This really is a
okay. I'll do that.
You do that? Okay.
There was a couple insightful moments, but okay, we can end it here. A couple insightful moments, but mostly it was just Gigi giving his side of the story. It's why I don't like this documentary. It is one-sided. As you can see, there was a part where where they called the trolls fans, which is not true, because if they were fans, that would mean they liked the show. It almost falls into the lines of propaganda, because once again, none of Gigi's bad sides were presented. None of the facts were really presented. It's like you could have challenged Gigi on why he had a rapist living in his house for more than 10 years. You could have challenged him on why he still sucks Sue to this day. But you didn't, and that's really sad. It almost shows a lack of balls on your guys' part. Because it's like I said, the production values were very good, but there's no edge. There's no edge to this thing. No balls. So yeah, that's what I have to say to that. So this should be interesting. George is going to try and false flag this video, a video he does not legally own, because once again, George doesn't know how copyright works. So if you would like to take this video and upload it elsewhere, you're more than welcome to. Like I said, I'm going to have the videos on this channel down for a little bit until George's butthurt subsides. And once that happens, they'll be made public again. So yeah, thanks for watching, and this should be interesting. And oh yeah, that's the other thing. George threatened to sue me again, so lawsuit 2015 is a go. Woo!